Royal Sports World Grand Prix on Sky Sports.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Online Darts. It's that time. It is Saturday night, so we are going to have a look ahead to Week 2 final, and we've got the asset, Paul Nicholson, with us. Paul, how are we doing?
Yeah, not too bad. It's been an eventful week. The weather's terrible outside, so I think the best place to be tonight is cuddled up on the couch watching the darts.
Absolutely. First of all, a little apology. Two things. One, slightly late. We had to reinstall some drivers. You know, tech issues happen. And we haven't got a lot in terms of on-screen graphics tonight. Again, slight technical issues that the guys behind the scenes are working rapidly to fix now. They've got a few hours to get their skates on, Paul.
Let's hope so.
So we've got the stuff in front of us, so we can waffle. Come and say hello in the chat room, as always. But, Paul, what a week it's been. This has arguably been one of my favourite weeks so far.
Yeah, I can see why you would say that. There's been a lot of 180s in Group A. I think that was a record for the 3 days. Well over 125 180s, I believe. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but I think when you have the experience that we had in that first group of the week, I think we can applaud the guys for standing up and being counted, because, you know, Martin Adams just never fails to deliver. You think, you know, he's getting to the pension age now, and you think, well, surely he's going to stop at some point. But no, he just seems really comfortable with this challenge.
We'll go straight into Group A. On the Monday, Wolfie topping the group didn't look likely, did it? Because he was good, but not his brilliant best way you think he's in the mood.
I think that's the mark of a champion, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You look at some players who have won titles in the past without playing their best darts. I mean, I remember when Michael van Gerwen said, when he won in the Netherlands against Steve Lennon in a final, he talked about that tournament as being his worst European Tour victory. And I thought, what a thing to say. What a luxury to have in your locker. But Martin is a champion, and the ability to get enough points and ultimately get enough points over the 3 days, and maybe not playing his ultimate stuff. Maybe he's holding something back for tonight. You just never know.
Yeah, in obviously the Group A overall title, he picked James Richardson by just 2 points. And ruthless, it's weird because at times he's the best player, but every now and then he just switches off for one game, and that one game he seems to cost him dearly in these battles.
Yeah, it seems to have cost him quite a lot this year, actually. You look at what he's done here with 2-9 darters and multiple ton plus averages. He has been one of the best players here throughout 2021. But I said it on commentary last night, maybe he's underachieved this year. There are things to do, there are boxes to tick, and he has another opportunity to get into Champions League tonight to possibly tick that box of winning a phase. But yeah, I totally agree with you. I think that maybe he switches off for 1 or 2 games in a group and it costs him.
That whole table, though, Niall Cullen finished bottom on 10 points, then Stu Wilson, Gary Robson, all on 10 points. This is how close that battle was. And Niall must have been split in half, the emotions torn in two, because to finish bottom obviously hurts. But the man of his performances weren't a bottom place player, if that kind of makes sense.
I think it's a mark of the quality of this group, though. When you look at the way that table has panned out, you've got an 8-point gap between Burnett and Robson, and obviously the other two. So you've got 3 strong players and 3 players that weren't to the same level. I don't think that lies. 4 wins or the equivalent of 4 wins doesn't lie. But the good thing that we have from that group is that all of them are in the finals tonight, apart from Stu Wilson, who missed out by the finest of margins.
Yeah, we'll come on to that in a second. We'll just check the chat room and see what you think about Group A, because it was unbelievable. Lots of good stuff in there. Talking about the WDF event over in Denmark at the moment. Yep. Aaron Turner, Sean McDonald flying the flag for the online darts.
Oh, good for them. I know Sean is doing well. He's keeping us abreast of his situation with social media, but I don't think it's a shock that Sean will be doing well over there. He seems to be really in tune with his game at the minute.
Sneaky one as well. I've seen the final draft of his new dart shirt.
Oh, you have seen the final draft?
Yes.
I've seen one of the drafts, and it was not his best effort. I think he might have tweaked it.
Yes, it's tweaked, but I like the fact that he's using the nickname.
Yeah, well, you've got to get a nickname somewhere.
But yeah, let us know. But yeah, good. Wishing them to all the best over there. Right, where are we? Moving on to Group C. Now, where to start with this, Paul? Because this was an absolute barnstorming nightmare all at the same time. Because going into that final hour of play, everyone apart from Corinne was still in play.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the first day, and Dan had a great day, but things didn't go his way on the Friday, which was unfortunate because I think something was starting to work for Dan Day. I get the feeling a bit like Fallon Sherrick from earlier in the season. He just needs more games, he needs more reps, he needs more challenges. I think you'll find that. So watch out for Dan, who's lost a lot of weight and he looks great. So great to see him back. But I think the one person who's going to be more frustrated than anybody else, apart from Stu Wilson, who lost out in a shootout with Niall Cullen at the end, is Prakash Jiwa, because that Friday performance was excellent. 4 wins from 5, and the reason why he's not in the top 2 is obvious, because his start on the Thursday was just too slow. He will admit that. But you talked about Martin Adams not playing his best stuff and still getting through a group. I think that's exactly what Gary Robson did. He did just enough at the right times. He had Corinne Hammond in his last game. He got a 4-0 win. It's exactly what he needed, not particularly by nil, but he needed a somewhat easier performance against someone who was already out of the tournament. And Cullen, to his credit, he won the shootout, didn't he?
He did, held his nerve, and that's a true mark of a champion, that knowing when it's all on the line, it's winner takes all.
Yeah.
You hold your nerve and it really matters.
When you start that group, I don't know from personal experience because I haven't played in a group like this. I played in the old style Live League from last year. But if you said to someone like Stu Wilson and Niall Cullen that they would be involved in a shootout to get through, I think they would probably take it because they would back themselves in a best-of-7 match to progress. Now, Stu played his better stuff on the Thursday, direct opposite to Prakash Jiwa, and he started brilliantly on the Friday, of course, by beating Corinne for a second time in a row. But after that, things just started to get more difficult, and he wasn't able to clear that final hurdle.
Yeah, so Niall Cullen and Gary Robson progressed from Group C, and then where to start with this motley crew, shall we say? And this was just enjoyable to watch. Scott Marsh did all the damage on Thursday night, going perfect.
Yeah.
With 8 points after day one, you've either got to be extremely unlucky or be extremely poor on the Friday not to make the top 3.
Yeah, he wasn't poor on Friday night either. He was very professional at the start. I think he just ran out of gas towards the end. He lost to Richardson, which cost him the perfect group of 16 points. I'm sure that'll be at the back of his mind come tonight because there is another job to do. Richardson had a bad start, losing his first couple of games, and you thought maybe this is the group where he gets bitten again. But the way he returned at the back end of Thursday, and particularly yesterday with a really good Friday night, I think it just goes to show what he's capable of. He really does smack that dartboard with some aggression sometimes. I love watching him play. But Burnett, I don't know how he does it sometimes. He did get some fortune because it's fair to say that Nick Fulwell did not play his best stuff on Friday. That's his fortune, but ultimately to have one match to get through. He had the situation and he came through it. But did he do it with great darts throughout the games that he played, the 8 matches on the Thursday and Friday? I think you'd probably say he played well in about 3 of them. One of them was so good with 107 average, he could have easily put up 112, 113, but I think the game after that really scarred him for a good 2 or 3 games after, when he was 3-0 up and he lost 4-3. I mean, that was a game that will put any amount of scar tissue in your brain when it comes to this type of format.
Completely. Going into that last game, we knew 5 of the 6 finalists. Were all 5 of them, and I don't mean this horribly, willing Richie Burnett not to win, because he's the jack in the box that, yes, he hasn't played well, but all of a sudden, at the click of a fingers, he'll come in here and he can do majestic things. Well,
taking that question and twisting it a little bit, the likes of Robson and Adams, who know Richie probably better than anybody else in this finals field, what would you say to them? Would you rather play Nick Fulwell or Richie Burnett? They will definitely say Nick Fulwell. And that's not a derogatory thing against Nick. They just believe that Richie does have that it factor, that when it's flicked, and we said it yesterday, not letting the cat out of the bag by any means, but when it comes to Saturday night, he just seems to be able to do it. And the one statistic that proves that is that he hasn't missed Champions Week yet. If he makes the top 3 tonight, he'll do it again.
And you wouldn't write that off either.
No.
It's a thing. It just knows how to win matches when it really matters.
He knows how to get enough done to get to Champions Week at least. He's already won a phase in Phase 2, and obviously Jim Williams won the one after that. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Richie back at the end of October.
No, and say shout out to Nick Fulwell and Robert Rickwood. Although they only won 2 out of 6, that doesn't really a true reflection, is it? Because they played their part in a fabulous 2 nights of darts.
Yeah, I really enjoy watching Nick. I think Nick's a great guy. I've known him for a long time, probably around 12 years since I joined the tour. He's a lovely bloke. He has not had easy times over the last 4 or 5 years, that's for sure. But it's great to see him playing darts. I still haven't got to the bottom of the mystery about his shirt, though, as to why it's giraffe-coloured and he has a giraffe on his pocket. I don't know. I'm sure it's a wonderful story. I'd love to find out what it is. But I'll tell you what, I'm not going to forget about Robert Rickwood, because that's the first time I've seen him play. And I think he's quite dangerous. He was rather unlucky that most of the games that he played over the 2 days, it seems like everybody played their best game against him. But he pulled off that incredible 1-4-9 checkout to win a game 4-3 against Fulwell. And I thought that was one of the finishes of the week.
Oh, massively, yeah. That was one of my favourite groups all over, just because the characters in it. And the way it went. Before we have a look at the final, I'm going to jump into the chat room. Missy is in, as always. Loads of you in. Hope you are all good. Joe Kilkenny Wolverine, the Mel Cullerton fan club is in. Saldor is in, as always. Good to have you all along. David says, Wolfie, king of the hockey. You certainly wouldn't say he's not, would you?
No, I'm not going to back against Martin, ever.
No. So moving on to tonight, Paul. Sorry we can't put this on the screen for you because we didn't have it available at the time, but we'll talk you through it. The groups in question. Group 1 will be Martin Adams, James Richardson, and Gary Robson. Group 2, Scott Marsh, Niall Cullerton, and Richie Burnett.
You know which one I'm going to pick, right? I mean, that Group 1 is awful for all 3 of them. I mean, the experience, the ability levels, the history between Martin and Gary being the 2 most experienced Lakeside players of all time, and you just think, what is going on? It's just the way it's fallen because of where they've qualified. I think Niall, Richie, and Scott, that is very much up for grabs. And I think Richie can count himself quite fortunate that he's not in the same group as Martin and James and Gary. I think for that reason, I'm going to say Richie Burnett is going to qualify tonight. And from the other side, I'm going to say that Martin will. But as to who will join him in the semi-finals, I'm got a side of a coin I want to pick anyway.
Yeah, for those that I know, a couple of people have asked on social media, the groups that they fall in are all preset to where you finish. So the winner of Group A goes in Group 1 and so on. There, before a dart is even thrown, they are preset. Yeah. Where you qualify is what group you end up in on the Saturday. So it is a little bit of luck.
Yeah, I mean, Niall Cullerton being at the top of Group 2 is because he won Group C. So that's why he's there. And Gary Robson from 2nd place in Group C, that's why he's in Group 1. So that's the way it works. Yeah,
just a little bit of luck. That's all it is. But these group games, and especially how tight and close they are, especially Group 2, I'm going to go with, you have to win your first game for me. If you lose that first game, you're right up against it in a corner.
I think this format lends itself to someone who starts well. I think if you can get that really big performance in your first game, win by 4-0, 4-1, you put yourself in the driving seat. And then you might only have to win a certain amount of legs in your second game. Now, ultimately, you want to win both games and take it out of the equation. But the start is key. The last thing you want in your second game is to have to win by a certain margin. You want to think, and in fact, I'm going to retract not so much retract what I just said, I'm just going to rewind a little bit. If you were to offer to someone tonight, and I'm going to take Group 2 as the example. If you sit to Niall Cullerton and Richie Burnett, who are playing each other in match 6 tonight, that's the last group game. If you said to them that if they had to win that game, just to win it, to get through, I think they would say, yeah. Just like we did with the likes of Stu Wilson this week and Niall in the Group C scenario. I think to keep things simple, that's what they want. They do not want to have to win 4-2 or 4-1 and have to create a gap.
Yeah, that extra pressure of knowing that you can only drop 1 or 2 legs is...
It's awful. I've been in the Grand Slam with that, and it's not nice because your mind is jumbled, and as soon as you lose your first leg, you think, oh, no, I can only afford to lose 1 more leg. I can only afford to lose 2 more legs. It is short format, yes, but those scenarios really scramble your brain.
It's been changed up for Phase 5 in the Online Darts Live League as well. We've now got the weekly prize fund in as well, taking it to another level as well, giving them something to aim for, and again, just takes it to another level.
I think financial incentives in sport right now, whether it's amateur or professional, they have to be there. You look at someone like Gary Robson, who 20 years ago said no to county darts, and he said, I want to go and play for money, I want to go and play for titles. Well, this kind of tournament lends itself to what Gary's all about. And let's not forget that these players want to make money to fund their career for 2022. It bolsters what this tournament is all about as well. This is not some namby-pamby little tournament that comes on YouTube and says, do you know what, do you want to watch a bit of darts? No, this is serious stuff. This is serious stuff. You can win $2,000 tonight and then get through the Champions League and win another 6. That's $8,000, which, if you get through Q School, will fund next year. That's how important it is. Oh,
huge. And we just look at the players that have played here that did well on the Challenge Tour, and it just ticks all the boxes that they are battle ready and hardened for that Challenge Tour and Q School.
I don't think there's any accident when it comes to seeing strong players in the Challenge Tour also playing here. But I think if you flip it around, it's a case of we're looking for the strongest players from the Challenge Tour as well. So it can be kind of misleading, but we've seen from the past that players who have played at home in the Live League and here have gone on, taking confidence from this room onto the Challenge Tour and done great things. Of course, the Welsh boys like Martin Thomas, Jim Williams, and some others like Darren Beveridge, who unfortunately did have the chance to win the Challenge Tour Order of Merit and just came short.
I'm going to put you on the spot in a minute, but
I know you will.
In the chat room, it's your warning now. Who picks up the title this evening? Let us know in the comments. But Nico, with a gun to your head, if you had to pick one of them,
get rid of that. Winning tonight?
Winning tonight.
I don't know. I think James Richardson might nick it, but I'm going to say that Richie Burnett is going to qualify. I think Richie will get 3rd, and I think James gets through as well. As for the other one, I'm going to leave that to you.
Right. I think mine and James both come out of Group 1. Okay. I think Gary misses out. I think they're just a little bit too... Gary could turn up and be unplayable.
I hope he does.
But I think the other two are more consistent than Gary.
I think they might have shown a higher level this week with the amount of high averages that they've had. But I think if Gary turns up with the right mentality tonight, he might show us a little bit of that vintage Robbo from about 15 years ago. Is he past his best? You'd have to ask him that. I've known Gary a long time. Everybody knows that. But I think when you put him in a corner and you say, do you know what, we expect the other guys to do well, he might just say, no, I'm not having any of that. He might come out swinging tonight. And if he gets a really good start against Martin Adams, what a great start it would be to the group.
Yeah, I'm going to go Martin Adams to top the group.
Okay.
I just think the 2 days off suits him perfectly. James to finish 2nd. And in the bottom one, I'm going against all my instincts here. The way Scott Marsh plays said, the stats say he comes through. But I'm going for Niall Cullen to top the group.
Ooh, okay.
I just, you know that thing where you can't back it up with anything. But there's something in the back of my head that says Niall Cullen's going to top that group.
Well, I don't think there'll be an unpopular victory in that group because I know Niall's got a lot of fans out there.
And Richie finishes second.
You did say that. So you're going to go for the person who blitzed Group B to lose out?
Yes.
That's interesting.
I know. Can't make it up, but I just, that feeling that I think he's going to miss out.
That, not me.
Yeah, I just think he's going to miss out. Sorry, Scott Marsh fans. Great player, nice bloke, but I just, that, you know, in that back of your head, you've got something that's going, I think he's going to miss out tonight. And
I don't know about that. I think Scott really did show some mettle the last couple of days, especially when he's got his leg strapped up. I don't know why that is.
I can tell you because he told me.
Go for it.
Monday, he went to Super League, driving home, said felt fine. He was trying to creep up the stairs to not wake everyone up, got to the top of the step, and he dislocated his knee.
Ugh.
He said he felt it dislocate at the top. You know when you're trying to creep?
Yeah.
If he funny angle, he dislocated his knee right at the top step.
Oh, the innocuous accidents to stop you from playing darts.
3 hours in A&E and it's all braced up.
Well, it hasn't stopped him from playing well this week. Beware the wounded player.
Correct. I think he said it helps because it's his back leg as well.
Well, if it was his front leg, he wouldn't be here.
No. So it's although it's painful and it's strapped, it's the non-weight bearing leg.
Yeah, it's becoming a bit of a fashion statement, a leg brace here. I'm not talking about Vandenberg because he doesn't play here, but Robert Owen had one as well.
Yeah.
And all we want for those guys is to get their legs fixed. You know, we want them fully fit, but it's not stopping those two players from playing well.
No, but overall, I'm going for a Wolfie win tonight.
Okay. Popular decision. I'm going to stick with GR.
Yeah, I think Wolfie, but can't wait for tonight. Genuinely can't. Let's jump back into the chat room and see where you guys are all going with this. Adams first. Martin leaning towards. Put something up. Leaning towards Adams.
Leaning. How far are you leaning?
Burnett. Yeah. Always Elvis. James is always dangerous and a close favourite for me. Yeah, close being the word. I wouldn't say there was a real runaway favourite, would you?
No. I think if you look at what has happened to James over the last few months, he's played in every phase. He's impressed in every phase. But it's a question of him putting the product together tonight to do enough. I mean, this group format tonight, where it's 2 group games, then a semi-final. I mean, 4 games in the night, maximum. We've seen someone like Mike Warburton really peak come Friday night, and then Saturday night he loses 2 games and he's out within a matter of minutes. So if you don't get it right, as far as timing is concerned, you could be out by 11:30.
Martin to win tonight. When are we going to see you playing, Paul?
Oh, I can put things like that. I had a little practice yesterday with one of our backroom staff, and I've actually got a bit of time off after this, so I'm looking forward to hitting the board. But as for when you'll see me playing, you'll just have to wait and see.
When is the third operation?
I don't think that's going ahead because this one didn't work the way it was supposed to. There is a lot of pain in here.
Right, okay.
And me trying to straighten my elbow is painful. The nerve underneath from operation 1 is still not healing as fast as I would like it to. So I've got to get some more advice. But my right arm's fine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's okay. But retrieving the darts on my left arm, it hurts a bit. And I know it's such an innocuous thing to say, you know, just grabbing darts out of a board. But when I do that, I can feel a tingle in my elbow and it's not pleasant. But as far as playing, yes, I can play. I just need to put in some hard yards. And then come January, we'll do Q School because I believe it's going to start on January the 9th.
Interesting.
That's what I've heard.
Is that the Monday?
I suppose it'll have to be early in the week because I'd have to go through 2 stages, wouldn't I? Hopefully.
Yeah.
It would have to be the preliminary stage and the final stage because I'm not coming straight off the tour like some people will in a couple of months.
No, but what else have we got in here? Let's do this one. Who wins the World Grand Prix, Paul? I think Ryan Searle gets into the second round, could win the whole thing.
Well, that's a bit of a statement, Daniel. But I tell you what, if you read my Sporting Life column, which was released yesterday, mindless plug, I'd put Ryan Searle to make the semis. I think he will get to the last 4. I think his double top shooting is so good right now that if he gets the starts that he should, he could be extremely dangerous in this format because it's slightly shorter than it used to be. But I'm going for MVG to beat Price in the final. I think Michael sometimes needs to remind himself where it all began. And it was 9 years ago, believe it or not, that he won the World Grand Prix. I was in that tournament practicing with him in the back room and I was watching him do ridiculous things. So it was no shock to me that he won that event. But double start is something of a comfort blanket for Michael. And this could be his first ranking win of the year.
Whilst we'll talk on that, Copenhagen, we saw what it meant to him on that stage. That's the most emotional I've ever seen Michael, I think, in all the trophies he's picked up, the Worlds, the Premier League, the match play. And although he didn't win on the Euro Tour this weekend, there are signs that he's very close to returning to somewhere near his best.
I think everybody's saying that. There's been a lot of doubters for Michael this year, and he is someone who prides himself on, being magnanimous. But there's only so much magnanimous you can feed out there. You've got to feed the inner beast, and we know that Michael's got that inner beast. He has been accused of being too vocal and too loud on stage in the past by some, but that is the kind of player he is. He's always been that way since he was a kid. But now, with all those doubters in 2021 talking about Bryson Wright and all this other stuff around him, you just fancy that maybe he's clicked a little bit with his form, and that something is going to happen in the next 3 months, whether he wins the Grand Prix, the Slam, the Players' Championship finals, which he's defending, or the Worlds. I mean, if he picks up the Worlds, then all is good in the world once again. I wouldn't back against him.
Off the back of Copenhagen, there's one big story in the world of darts, and there's one name on everyone's lips right now, and it is Fallon Sherrock again.
I thought you were going to say Madas Razma.
Well, and that. We all know what she achieved at the World Championships, and COVID almost derailed her. And I say almost. However, arguably now, after Copenhagen and the winning series, she's arguably bigger than what she was at the Worlds.
I don't know about that. I think she's still got some way to go to find the real momentum that she got from beating Ted Everts and Mensah Suljovic. I think everybody forgets how incredible that night was against Chris Dobie as well. Yeah, everybody forgets about that. I was in that press gantry and couldn't get a look at the arena. It was that packed. But COVID coming along at that time did rob her of all of her momentum. Everything stopped, but it stopped for everyone else as well. So there were a lot of players within the PDC and worldwide who had to re-establish what they were doing before. I think we talk about boxers who get off the floor and win. We talk about people who respond to adversity. And I think the adversity for Fallon has been her momentum being stopped and then starting again. This live league has helped her a lot. It's given her reps. It's given her opportunity to play. And because of this, I firmly believe that she has built a form platform to use in Denmark and the Women's Series. And of course, she gets enough practice at home. But inherently, what we've got with her is someone who can take a hit. She can get up and do it again. And she's not even 30. So I think we're looking at a good 10 years of greatness from Fallon Sherrock. I really want her to do it because not only do I like her, I think she's important for the game to show that darts is inclusive of for anybody to play it. And if you're good enough, the vehicle is there for you to be brilliant. And she's a brilliant player.
What a statement, though, to get to a PDC televised final.
She was slightly fortunate. I mean, I don't think we should negate the fact that her first round draw against Niels Henshaw was not the worst draw. She could have got Labanauskas. She could have got Razma. Yeah. Would she have got through that game? Maybe. She might have lifted a game, but I think she handled the crowd brilliantly because she was booed when she went on stage. So were some other players when they played the Danes. She's fortunate not to have to play Price.
Of course, yeah.
But at the same time, all you can do is what's in front of you. I think if anybody is going to be out there casting dispersions or throwing some flack her way, don't do it. Because it's not her fault that Price pulled out. It's not her fault she drew Niels Henshaw. It's not her fault that Dimitri couldn't finish the match off. She did her job. And maybe the most impressive thing about that whole tournament for her was how she performed in the final.
Unbelievable.
I mean, she worried the best player of this generation on a stage in front of 4,500 people. Now, when you take that away and you think great performance, she's now in the Grand Slam, but maybe the best thing she's done this year is losing to Lisa Ashton 3 times and then having the goal and the belief to go and win to nil in the most important of the 4. I think we have 2 players in Lisa and Fallon who could battle each other for the next 2 years hopefully on tour, and really take the women's game to the next level.
Speaking of the whole ladies series, I watched every minute of it. Obviously, we did the live stream for it, and it was just so good to see the ladies competing again. Look, is there a gap? Yes, there's Fallon and Lisa at the top.
Yeah.
Then there's a gap, another group below, and then another group below them. It's how we bridge the gaps between the other ones now.
We need to keep giving opportunity. And you look at someone like Lorraine Hyde, who stuck in a 90-plus average, I think, for the first time in her career. And that jumped off the page for me.
Yeah.
When it came to the first Women's Series event, I thought, wow, Lorraine's averaging over 90. You know, I look at, when Stanley and Trina playing and looking really smooth, that was tremendously heartwarming.
Yeah.
But more opportunities have to be put there. But ultimately, like some of the women like Dita Hedman and Lorraine Winstanley have said, people need to enter. People need to put themselves in that window. And I have a sneaky suspicion that we will see more players in the next batch of Women's Series events. And I know at least one that's coming over from overseas who's going to give it a go. And she is a bit of a game changer.
I agree and I disagree. I think that we can't get the dates exactly right, but having the final Women's Series on the same weekend as the Welsh Open, I think we might lose some, because I'm looking at the list. Maria O'Brien, Vicky Pruitt are definitely going to the Welsh Open because they've got more chance of qualifying for the WDF events than they have of catching.
That's a shame, isn't it?
The top two. The planning's not ideal because of that, making them choose. If you're in the situation, am I going to catch Lisa and Fallon? Probably not. Can I qualify for the WDF World Championships? Yes. Which one are you going to lean towards?
Well, I suppose you can look at it two ways. One, you can say it's bad planning, or two, you can say, how much do you want to be at the Worlds? How much do you believe in your own ability? Which one do you want to go to? Let's face facts. The PDC World Championship is the pinnacle of this sport. Do you want to be there? Do you believe you can get there? Here is an opportunity for you to get there, or do you want to do something else? This is a debate that's going to ramble on for the next fortnight. I'm probably not going to be part of it, but I will happily watch on to see other people's points of view. And I think when you look at the way that the ladies' game was talked about and the money that's on offer at the PDC World Championship, if you want to be part of that, then go to the Women's Series.
If it had been the first one, I agree with you. But because of the gap Fallon and Lisa have got on the order of merit, someone's probably going to have to win maybe 4 of 6. And Fallon and Lisa not get anywhere.
If your form's good enough, it can be done. Look at Bo Greaves. She has won women's events like they were apples falling off a tree. So if you believe that you can attain an 85 average, maintain that, you might just do enough to snag a position away from one of those ladies. I know one of them is going to get there, but the likelihood is both of them will get there. They've got their priorities. They want to be at the PDC World Championship. Other people have got their priorities. I thoroughly respect what they want to do, but life is short. How many opportunities are you going to get?
I agree. A couple other bits from the ladies series whilst we're on there. One, did Mikuru get her preparation massively wrong? She only got into the UK the day before, and obviously we saw on social media that she was just so tired, jet lag wise. Did perhaps the miracle maybe get it wrong?
Maybe. I've travelled back from Japan myself, and it's tough. I've spent 4 or 5 days in Tokyo.
Yeah.
I was jet lagged the whole time.
Yeah.
And I couldn't imagine playing darts without jet lag. 3 tournaments in a day is hard enough without jet lag. So am I surprised to see Mikuru not get the amount of wins that we would expect from a 2-time ladies world champion and current champion, of course? I have to say that I'm not surprised.
I saw her on the stream the last game, and she looked absolutely shattered. The tank was empty, and it was just like, you just want to go and give her a hug, because she just looked absolutely shattered. Another 2 names that jumped off. One I saw on the stream, one I didn't. One I don't know anything about her, and my apologies, but Louise Patterson, I think it was. Think so, but she had a really impressive game against Fallon Sherrick, and it was like, oh, there's a top end game there. That stuck out. And the other one, famous mum, but massively impressed with Josie Patterson.
Yeah.
What a fabulous action. And you look at Josie and it's like, there's stuff to work with there because her action is genuinely brilliant.
Yeah, she's got darting DNA, hasn't she?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Her mum's like world finalist and she's won all sorts of titles. So darts runs in the family, but she's done well today, making the quarterfinals in Denmark. So
yeah.
I think she's getting a bit of confidence. She could well progress. I think there's another level for Josie to find. Do I think she'll find it? I really hope so. But like you say, the schematics of her throw, they look great. So I think she could have a bit of a future.
No, absolutely. Let us know in the comments as well. We've not been ignoring you. We've just been chatting. Let's scroll back as we've been talking about the ladies series. We'll come on to that in a minute because we'll talk about that. Evening, Henry. Hope you are well, mate. Right. So, yeah, we've covered most of the ladies series. I believe Bo's struggling a bit mentally with the game at the moment. She pulled out of the streamed element at Selsey, at the EDO stuff. I just think that she's a young kid, and she is still a kid. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
I just think she just needs a little bit of time away, and look, she's a fabulous player.
Yeah, she's great action. She's only a kid.
Yeah.
Like I say, I am putting zero pressure on Bo Greaves. All I want for Bo is to give her the ability of doing whatever she wants. We look at young superstars in sport these days, like Naomi Osaka and Emma Raducanu, and these kinds of incredible talents. We expect as a public them to be brilliant 24/7, 365 days a year. They are human beings. Allow them to be human, and if they choose not to play what they want to play for their own mental health or for whatever reason, it's entirely their choice. Let them do what they want.
Yeah. Henry, big supporter of the channel, says, evening hall, drying off after watching Pompey beat Sunderland. If you could give one player a wild card now for Ali Pally based on their performances on 2021 outside the top 32, who would it be and why?
That must be Henry Deacon, isn't it?
Yeah. Good question.
Wow. Wild card.
If you could go and give someone the golden ticket and say you're going to Ali Pally.
Oh, that's a great question, I don't know. I really don't. I think right now I'd probably give it to Danny Lauby. I just like him. I think he's a great player.
I think he's already in.
Oh, he's already in, so we can forget about that. Right. Cut. We'll do the next one. Who could we possibly give it to? Let's look around the world. We can give it to an Aussie. We can give it a Kiwi. Someone from Canada. Matt Campbell's already in. So Jim Williams is already in. Wow, that is a tough one.
I've got one that I'd like to see after last year. I don't know if he's. I don't think he's in, and he missed out on the World Cup.
Don't say Dmitry Gorbanov.
Dmitry Gorbanov.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that just because of the walk on.
I've never seen anyone smile so much on stage and appreciate it, and that deserved to be in front of 3,500 people.
Do you know what? I'm going to pull one out of left field for you, Henry, because you might not know anything about this guy. He's a friend of mine from Malaysia, and I just think he does so much for Malaysian darts, and he gets no credit for it. It's Tenka Shah, great soft hit player, brilliant throw. He's played before, but I'd love to see him again. And I just think that part of the world is our future. Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, China, we've got so much to do there. Obviously, COVID has halted everything in that respect. But I think living or not with us anymore, I'd have to give one to Kyle. Yeah. I'd love to see one more game with Kyle, just in spirit, because I think we'd all get something from it. But it's been a tough year. We've lost Bruce Spendley. We've lost Kyle. We've lost Andy Fordham. I think what we need at the end of this year is a whole bunch of smiles for everyone. Speaking of darting continents, the CDC, North America at the moment, wowzers, Danny Lauby, Matt Campbell, Jeff Smith, Danny Baggish, and the whole Chuck Pulio, who played some great stuff in the World Cup. That whole North American region is really starting to take off. I think the CDC deserve a bit of credit. I think there are so many players out there. I was fortunate to go and see Jeff Smith pre-COVID and go around Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and of course New Brunswick, his home province. There are players out there, great players. It's a long way away.
Yeah,
that's the problem. And when these places are so far away, these other associations have got a job to do to find the talent that will go ultimately onto our TV screens and smart devices. So they're doing a good job right now, but there are so many more to find. We need to find some lady players from North America. We need to find more young talents like Danny Lowby. He is at the forefront of everything right now. He's a great product because he's good and he's quick and he's marketable. He ticks 3 very big boxes. So is his region of the United States the place to base? Is the East Coast the place to go? I believe it is, because there's more in Pennsylvania, New York,
Boston area. And all
absolutely. All of the expats who have gone over from Europe towards the Massachusetts area, and of course Eastern Canada, where pretty much all of the great players from Canada have come from, apart from, say, Dawson Marshall, who's from the middle.
Yeah, have you tried to Dawson at all recently? Is he going to get back into it?
I doubt it. I think his life is good at the minute. I think if he gets the bug again, he might give it a crack. But I think it was with Dawson, it didn't work out. But looking at his social media, I just get the feeling he's really happy, and why mess with it?
100%. Tomorrow, start of the World Grand Prix. We touched on it earlier. There's some brutal first round games in that cutthroat format.
Yeah. I haven't seen a World Grand Prix draw as brutal as this for years. And I was involved in some good Grand Prix. Thoroughly enjoyed the tournament. It's my favourite format because I love double start. We don't play enough of it. And on the stream this week, I was talking about nominated double start, which was a big thing in Northumberland. We used to have that little dial where you'd spin it, and both players would realise, oh, I've got to start on double 2 in this leg. I've got to start on double top. They were great times. I think some of these formats need to be used, but this event, we need to embrace it. If you don't have a plan, I've said this so many times, but I'm going to say it again. If you don't have a plan for starting, you're going to get found out. Now, Price is a tops and tens guy when it comes to finishing legs. He's put that into starting. It works. It works for James Wade. We know what Mervyn King's going to do. I'm intrigued by the debutants every single year because I want to know, right, have you got your plan figured out, and are you ready to use it in the most cutthroat first round format there is in best of 3 sets?
Oh, massively. And the 32 to 57, I love that. So they're going 32, the eye line, again, like you say, setting plans and making sure you stick to them. And the one player in the top end of the game that I think he's completely fried his brain, and he admits it himself, is Rob Cross, because he loves the 18s, but it's easily blocked, and I don't think he's got a plan from there to there. He's not the only one. I'm just saying because he's the one that's openly spoke about it.
Yeah.
Is it too late now going into it? If you haven't got your plan sorted now, is it too late?
Well, it's Saturday night. It starts tomorrow. If you haven't got the plan sorted now, it's screwed. I hate to say that word, but you are screwed. I had a plan for the first year I played in it, and I was going tops because I really fancied I was going to get a 9. Because I'd missed the bullseye for a 9 the previous year in the Australian match play, which is double start. And I just thought I wanted the 9. But then I realised that I was much better at double 16 than I was at double top. So I started the plan. And I'm not blowing my trumpet by any means, because this is true. I was the guy who started the trend of double 16, treble 19 because of the height thing.
Yeah.
I was very proud of thinking of that. And other players have used it, and I'm glad they do, because it is a very prudent plan. The amount of 146 starts I used to get, that really got me out of trouble. And I was never noted as the biggest scorer. So getting a big start was really key for my aspect. But yeah, if you haven't got the plan, you are going to get found out. But as far as Rob Cross is concerned, someone who has been the best doubles hitter on tour for an entire season, more than one occasion, I just think that maybe a new plan is needed, and he could go with 16s and 19s because it is part of what he does. He doesn't like 17s when it comes to the treble. He likes 20s, 19s, and 18s, and then a few doubles around the board. Find a plan, make it work, and he could win the tournament if he gets enough confidence. But I just don't see it right now.
No, I agree. I think it's tough, but the world number 1, the world champion, has been handed an absolute shocker in round 1. of all the players you probably want to miss in a best of 3 format, it's Michael Smith, because at the click of the fingers, he can reel off 6 legs.
Yeah, I'm now back priced to make the final. I'll tell you what, he's got to get through Michael Smith first, and that's the one that worries me the most. In the first round, I think that's an awful draw. And let's face facts, it's a bad draw for Michael too.
Completely.
We can all talk about the world number 1 getting Michael Smith, but Michael Smith's got to deal with Gezi as well. And if you look at the way they've played each other in finals in the Euro Tour the last couple of years, Gezi has owned it. But this is different. This is double start. And we're yet to see Michael Smith really shine at that double start level, almost at the same level as Adrian Lewis, who we thought, surely he's going to win a Grand Prix. Well, Michael Smith hasn't really shown us that prowess on double start yet, which is why I always go for the experienced guys, because they constantly deliver in this format. Someone's got to pop. Someone's got to say I'm a double start kind of guy. I've gone for Ryan Searle in this tournament. But if Michael Smith was to beat Price, I'd sit here and go, yeah, right. I would not be shocked.
I don't think I'd be shocked with any outcome in any of the first round games.
Well, I just want it to be a really good tournament. I'm going to sit back and watch the whole thing with a cup of peppermint tea and really enjoy my favourite format, because it only happens once a year.
Well, I'm just going to do a quick couple of questions before we let Paul go and do some of his prep. That was a really good one. Where was it? I'm going to put you on the spot from Peter. At this stage, who do you think will win the Worlds? Nice early shout.
I don't think we're going to get anybody from outside the top 4 in the final. And we did last year with Gary, obviously. But I see Price, the way he's playing and his ability to defend the PDC Major. We've seen it with the Grand Slam, and he has defended the International Darts Open as well. He said this week that he gets something from trying to defend it. So I believe he's going to make the final. I'm not going to answer your question about who's going to win it. I'm not, because it's too early. But I do believe that we deserve an MVG versus Price final. But the problem we have with this game right now is it's like tennis. We've got Wright, we've got Price and Van Gerwen. And if they're both peaking at that time, balls in the air. See which one drops first.
Oh, completely.
Because they're all at the same level. They can all go 105 tournament long.
Oh, completely.
That I want to see. I think all 3 of them will be in the semi-finals. As for who will join them, I think it'll be a form horse from 2021 who maybe hasn't had a massive amount of plaudits yet. I wouldn't be surprised if Luke Humphries makes the semis.
Yeah, like I say, until we know where the non-seeded players fit in the draw, it hard
makes no sense, because say Luke is at 25 in the world right now. He could prospectively get to the top 10. He might win the Grand Prix. Things are changing. It's as if to say, how is this apple pie going to taste? Well, I haven't started it yet. I might drop the apples on the floor. I might not make it anywhere.
Charlie has joined us as always. He says, "Evening, Phil, Paul. I do have a question, Paul. What player has impressed you most in Online Darts Live League? Mine is Mike Warburton with 115.62 average.
Well, the strange thing about that one is it should have been better.
100, it could have been
122. 122.
Yeah.
I mean, Askew's performance of 118 was obviously very impressive. He didn't even have a referee in the room. But I think I was asked this question at the back end of last year about the live league at home. And I was mightily impressed with Martin. But this year, he seems to be timeless. I'm really impressed with James Richardson and his constant ability to average over 100 and put in these big displays. I love watching him play. But I suppose I'm going to go a little bit sort of left field with this one. I'm intrigued with the future of the game, more than anything right now, really. And I think with Hendo, with Peter Wright, Anderson, all towards the top of the game, I was kind of worried for Scottish Darts to see where things were going next. This year, I've been educated as to where it's going to be. So we have got Jamie Clark, we have got Darren Beveridge, we've got Greg Ritchie, we've got Nathan Gervin, the next generation of Scottish players, with Sean McDonald, of course. And there's 5 players for the future of Scottish Darts. And I think everybody who is firmly behind Scottish Darts will be very excited for the future. So that's the thing that sticks out for me.
Before we go, We forgot to tell everyone who's playing next week in all the excitement.
Well, it's not next week. It's the week after.
The week after, yeah. No darts next week because of the Grand Prix. But we come back on October the 11th. Group A, Paul.
Yeah.
Kevin Painter, Robert Thornton, Robert Owen, Darren Beveridge, Jamie Clark, and Tony Martin.
There's a practice room I don't want to be in. I think there's going to be some people there who are not going to be happy with losing. I think that's a very competitive group. We know what Darren can do. Darren Beveridge is a great player. He didn't have the best time of it towards the back end of his last visit, but I think what he wants to do is brush off what happened at the Challenge Tour and start a new journey towards 2022. Robert Owen, we know, is very dangerous. Painter and Thornton with a bucket load of experience. But Jamie Clark, I think he's going to come in here with some confidence. I think he gives some good Challenge Tour stuff.
I agree.
But Tony Martin coming in, that's a really interesting one for me. I've not seen him play a great deal of steel tip the last couple of years because he's played a lot of soft tip for Team UK and some other challenges. But I think that could be a rather feisty group.
And then 3 coming into Group C. Sean Griffiths, debut for Dave Pallett and Scott Walters.
I think Sean Griffiths played really well when he was here last time.
I agree.
I think everybody tends to forget what a great youth player he was.
Yeah.
He was that close to making not 1 but 2 World Youth Finals, losing out to MVG both times. But Dave Pallett, I mean, who's commentating now? I think it's Chris Murphy, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
I think it is. And he's going to have his hands full trying to spot Dave Pallett's shot. He is Mr. Unpredictable.
And then coming into Group B, these 3 players with 2 from this Group A, hold on to your hats, put your seatbelt on now. Lee Cox, who has massively impressed me every time he's played here, the former London captain. Chaz Barstow, we all know what he can do.
Yeah.
And the former champion of the world, Mark Webster, returns.
Well, Mark played really well the last time he was here.
Yeah.
He was very, very close to winning a week. And I think people might have been slightly surprised by his form because I don't think he's been playing that much. But it's there and it's smooth. We know what we're going to get from Chaz. He's going to be full of beans after winning Phase 4. And Lee Cox, I saw him at the airport last week when I came back from Gibraltar. He was spending a bit of time in Murcia with some family. And he looks great, full of beans, full of positivity.
Yeah, he's really impressed me.
I like him a lot. I think he's got a lovely, graceful throw. And I don't think we've seen the best of him yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everyone, thank you very much for joining us here at the Online Darts Live League. Remember, 10 p.m. this evening, it is the final live on Sporty Stuff TV and our YouTube channel. This man will be calling in all the action and someone will be crowned the Week 2 champion. Who will it be? We will find out then. But until then, this is the Asset signing out as always, and we will see you all at 10 p.m.